Welcome, everybody. We are bringing back Sami Abusaad, who was the biggest Tesla bull in the universe a few months ago. And, Sami loves to be right, and he was definitely right about Tesla. So we are going to talk about Tesla. We're going to talk about Netflix, Robinhood, and more. My name is Michael Camo. I'm Director of Content for T3 Live. And welcome to our latest show with the king of the charts, Sami Abusaad. And yes, we are going to get into Tesla. Please read the disclosures. Please memorize every word on the screen so all of our legal folks will be happy. So again, today's agenda, we're going to talk about, can Tesla keep going? Is the IWM breakout real? Why Sami keep buying Robinhood? Why he shorted ANF? Why he likes Verizon and AT&T? And what he thinks of Netflix into earnings. So we have a lot to cover in like 20 minutes. So we will get right to it. So Sami, we had a very heated argument on April 25th over hedging, but on the positive side, you came out bullish on Tesla. It was under 140. It just hit 271, and it's still up huge from back then. So what was your thinking with Tesla there, and what do you think of it here?
All right, Mike. Good to be with you as always. My thinking about Tesla was that if it's the bottom, I didn't know if it was going to be the bottom, but that if it was going to be the bottom, it was going to be a long-term bottom, because everybody was hating Tesla for so long, so much, that once it bottoms, these people are all going to be out. They're going to look to get into it, and it's going to just be the bottom, basically. So that was the whole idea behind it. And now I still like Tesla. It recently broke out. I don't know. Can you see my charts? I think
Yep.
you can.
Yep.
Yeah, so it recently broke out. In fact, I called it in the newsletter, in the SST newsletter, as a breakout. It got to target, but I called the TSLA, which gives you twice the leverage. So I think, consolidating here is a healthy thing for Tesla, and then ultimately has room to, that's the TSLL. Here's back to Tesla. So got to the first resistance area. Ultimately, who knows? 380, 400, who knows? But ultimately, it should be, I would think, higher long term, because it broke the monthly downtrend. Also had my favorite reversal bar of all time, what I call the barrel bar on the weekly, right? Again, it did get to resistance for now, so that's target one. But eventually, I think, hopefully, gets to the all-time high. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for.
All right, from your mouth to God's ear. So I am long Tesla as well. So we are all going to pray that that Sami is correct about this one. Okay, so Sami, so the big story in July so far is the small cap breakout. We could see on the screen, IWM is crushing it. The Qs are down fractionally for the month. IWM is up huge. So can you bring up your beautiful IWM chart?
Absolutely.
And let us know, is this breakout for real?
I will bring it up right now. What I'm doing right now is I'm downloading the earnings list. But okay. I did say in the room just 10 minutes ago, just before I came on the mic, that likely the bottom in the market for now, and likely higher, because today is supposed to be a narrow range bar, and so far today, we had on the daily chart, we had a big red bar, but we're supposed to snap back a little bit. Okay, so back to the IWM. Okay, was this breakout for real? I think so. I think this breakout was for real. The only issue, of course, is not the IWM. The IWM finally broke out and produced nice follow-through. The only problem is not the IWM. The only problem is the timing with like the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, which look pretty toppy. I mean, that's the monthly bar, hasn't closed yet. That's the weekly. Certainly looks lower to here. So that's the only issue that I have with the IWM, is that, timing with when we look at the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, I don't think this sell-off is totally over. So that's my only issue with the IWM. But I do think the IWM is for real. If we get a pullback on the IWM, that would be, to me, would be the time to do it if you're not already in the IWM. So if we get a pullback, that would be really the thing to do, in my opinion. But yes, I'm a believer that the IWM breakout is for real.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to. So I think this is the most interesting pick in the SST newsletter this year, which is Robinhood. So started it at 72, added it 126, added again 2242, and it just broke 24. So I think we're used to people traders taking profits on things as they go up, but you did the opposite. You were adding on the way up. So what was so good about Robinhood that you just said, I want more, more, more?
You're flattering me too much. Honestly, you are being too kind. But having said that, on Robinhood, my guide has been the monthly chart. So if we look, and also Bitcoin, since I'm bullish on Bitcoin, and I don't think Bitcoin is topped out yet. Robinhood is my Bitcoin play. I mentioned it in that live stream we did, the group live stream, as a Bitcoin proxy. So if we look at Robinhood monthly chart, so here's the monthly. This is what we call in the TPM class, in the pristine method of trading. This is a transition A breakout. So the first time I played Robinhood, and I called it in the newsletter, was when it actually transitioned on the daily chart, was around $15, I believe, right here. That's the first time we played it. We trailed out of it here and then started to get back in it over here. So that's the first entry, maybe the second entry, and then maybe the third entry. I don't remember. You showed them on the chart. So, but the first time I actually got in it was about here. I said 15. No, it's about $11. It was when it was doing the weekly buy setup. So I'm zoomed out a little too much. Here it is. So when it was doing the weekly buy setup right here, that was the first time I did it. Then over here somewhere, and then we have the numbers, but I don't remember the exact entries. But the guide has been for me Bitcoin and mostly that monthly chart. This is a monthly breakout that has a tradable void above all the way to what, $45. So it still has plenty of room to go. And I hope I'm right. Now I'm going to raise my stop probably to under this bar's low to 2039. Not probably, I already did. I put it out in the newsletter to go ahead and raise the stop, which is last month's low. So it shouldn't get taken out. If it does, I would get trailed out. But I'm hoping it gets up to about $40 or so. Look at Tesla go, by the way.
What is Tesla doing now?
Popping.
Oh, good news. Yes. So Sami, so guys, just before we got on this call, I asked Sami how he's doing. He's like, I'm doing great, but I'll be doing better if Tesla keeps going up. Okay. So Sami says Robinhood potential to hit 40. Okay. So Sami, let's get a little negative now. So I know one stock you haven't liked is Abercrombie and Fitch. So you called it short over 183. It just broke 153. At the same time, small caps are ramping. So, and also, if you were on last week's group live stream, Sami said very unkind things about Abercrombie. He said it was going to keep going down, and it's been a mess, a beautiful short. So, Sami, explain to us Abercrombie and Fitch. Now, why is the stock been such a mess?
Again, Mike, you are too nice. But Abercrombie and Fitch is the definition of a climactic sell setup on the monthly chart. Look at this, guys. Up, 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 up. Tries to top here, and then it doesn't, and then it ends up putting in the biggest green bar the chart has ever seen. Ever. So, and then followed by a nice deadly doji, a real reversal bar. So under it short, I actually didn't wait for it to break under it. We shorted it in the newsletter under 183 something. I can look at my account. But so, and the idea is this should be the top for good for a while, and then the target is 140. So it's about a $43, $44 target on the ANF. But to tell you the truth, I think it's even going to go through the 20 MA on the weekly chart and get down to like maybe 120 or so on the Abercrombie and Fitch. Sorry, I'm going to take profit on the Qs. I mentioned the Qs long at the bottom. So, but yeah, so it's a classic climactic sell setup. They don't come any better than this on the monthly chart, where the stock is up like a rocket ship and then prints the biggest green bar. That's indicative that people finally rushed into the stock, and that's the last batch of buyers. Once the last batch of buyers is in, the top is probably in, and then that's the reversal bar. Once we break under it, that's confirmation. But I didn't do it off the monthly because then the stop would have been really big. I did it off the daily, which was on the double top. You see how this was the top. I didn't get it, unfortunately, on that day, but it retested, didn't quite get to the prior high, and I shorted it just under that bar's low. See that bar? So just under it, and then been holding it ever since, looking for 140 as target one, but honestly, I think it heads down to 120 eventually. So that's my idea on the AMD. It's very hard to find something climactic like this. It's really rare for me to short an uptrending stock. The only time I short an uptrending stock is pretty much when it goes climactic, which is very, very rare. So that's the ANF for you in a nutshell.
Wow, you're making me want to short ANF. So I maybe tomorrow I will buy some puts on $100 puts on ANF. Okay, all right. So we're gonna get to Netflix in just a little bit, but let's so Sammy, I noticed a while ago you talked about, and I think on last week's live stream with the whole team, Verizon and AT&T, which I haven't heard anybody mention in 20 years or something. I can't remember the last time anybody said, I really like Verizon. So how did these two dinosaurs get on the radar?
Well, that monthly chart, check it out. So notice how the AT&T and the Verizon have been in a long-term downtrend. And notice how the last sell setup right here failed. So that's the end of the downtrend. And so I like it. I played AT&T 3 or 4 times last year also. So I'm already, it's been on my radar because I expected it to have bottomed, hit like new all-time low or something like this, and then it started to transition on the daily. So I played it 3 or 4 times on these upswings, and then eventually it trailed out. And then recently I got back in it after that. You see that bearish gap down? I believe I was in it already, so I got trailed out, and then it started to uptrend again. So I played it long on the breakout, added on the buy setup. There was actually an ad idea in the newsletter sent out yesterday on the AT&T. So again, it's the monthly chart, the larger picture, telling me that the downtrend is over. But I can tell that the downtrend is over even before the downtrend is breaks by looking at the smaller time frames. In that case, the daily chart. The same with the VZ. See the VZ trying to transition. So that's the thing. And then, but they both pay, I think, 6.5% dividends. So these are good to hold longer term. So that was the idea on the AT&T. I said, if you want unsexy ideas, come to me, baby. Last in that live stream, and so far, it was a nice play. It's been a really, really nice play. So hope people took it.
Yeah, it looks like almost an AI stock chart. Okay, so Sammy, so earnings season is finally starting to heat up. We have Netflix after the close today, but how are you seeing the overall environment for earnings coming based on the price action at least?
I think it's going to be really good. Not because I've seen really good earnings reports, but because of the volatility in the market. So when you have volatility like this in the market, and if you can read the charts, you should be able to profit. We should be able to profit off of it. So I like the volatility that we have in the market, and as a result, I think it's going to be a really good earnings season. That's what I'm thinking. I hope I end up being right.
Okay, all right. Do you want to pull up your Netflix chart and tell us what you're seeing there heading into earnings today?
Okay, let's take a look at Netflix. I actually haven't looked at it. So Netflix is a tough call because it looks lower, doesn't it? I mean, you don't have to be a genius at reading charts. Look at this chart. So it broke the long-term uptrend on the daily chart, and it's transitioning lower. So it actually looks a little bit lower. It is at support. It is holding up really well against this bearish market, and it is at the weekly rising 20. So Netflix, no play for me, because short term on the daily looks lower. On the weekly, it's right at the rising 20 and is holding up really well compared to the Qs. So there's bearish things about it. There's bullish things about it. So no play for me on the Netflix. No play for me, basically. And I'm scanning the list right now to see if there's anything else that I like. I think the ISRG might be even better than Netflix. This ended the downtrend, the uptrend for sure. That's bearish, but it's coming in pretty hard. So this might be actually more interesting than the Netflix as a long in this case, but it's not that great either. So I'm scanning right now to see what else there is. This is a penny stock, which I don't usually play on earnings, but notice how it gapped down, got bought. This has been basing above the 20. That looks okay long, I would say. But yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything good. There's only like a dozen names on my list.
Okay, all right.
One last PPG, possible short on the PPG. That's not bad, PPG. But I don't have, actually for today, I might not do anything. I don't think I did the CTAS yesterday. That worked out. I did the NOK also. That didn't work out. But the CTAS so far so good. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be any plays, official plays. Again, the PPG maybe as a short, ISRG maybe a long, Netflix I'm 50-50 on.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate your honesty. If there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do. So, Sami, do you have any other magic stock picks for us today before we go? So we already got. So Sami thinks Tesla has potential for 380 to 400, Abercrombie possibly 120, Robinhood possibly 40.
Yeah, I have some ideas, but they're only gonna work if the IWM and the market goes back up. So like the CDNA, that's not a bad idea at all. Long term, look at the monthly. It's like Robinhood, right? Trying to transition. I also like so I like the CDNA, and there's a few more like it, but they're all gonna work only if the market works. I like to find plays that are on their own page for the most part, so I'm not at the mercy of the market. But all the plays that I have right now are at the mercy of the market. Will only work if the market works. One other thing is check out the real estate stocks, like especially the mortgage REITs, like the ARR. Look at this one.
Isn't IVR in the SST newsletter now?
Yeah, IVR. So these look good to me. The what do you call them? Those mortgage REITs and the real estate stocks. Zillow we talked about looks great on the monthly, but it needs another pullback. Zillow and Redfin, especially Zillow. I think this goes back up. Mark my word. I think this is headed back up to $100 eventually. $100. Not saying tomorrow, but eventually that's probably headed to $100. Redfin not as good on the monthly, but will also probably work and is headed to. The target would be about $17 on it. So we're talking, over 100% gain on the Zillow, and then almost 100% on Redfin. So I do like the real estate stocks a lot, and I think that's going to be the place to be in the coming weeks and months.
Wow. So I feel like in 18 minutes, we got like 6 huge stock picks from Sami. So if you were lucky enough to come to this, you basically got, I don't know how many years worth of a newsletter for absolutely free. So, guys, before we close out, I want to invite you to get Sami's ebook, Unsexy Trend Analysis Secrets That Generate Beautiful Profits. Again, this is the least sexy, least exciting thing you will ever read. You might not even stay awake for it. It's that unsexy. But this is what works. If you want to learn how Sami finds these stocks like Robinhood and Tesla, read this. Guys, it might put you to sleep, but it also might make you money. So you guys, you have to absolutely download it. Go to t3live.com/SA. And Sami, 19 minutes, this might have been the best show we've ever done, and it took just 19 minutes. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye, guys.